At 2:47 a.m. on October 12, 2025, near Novocherkassk, Russia, roughly 560 miles from the Ukrainian border, a team of Aish partisans waits motionless in the dark 300 feet from a critical railway line. Above them, a Switchblade 600 drone slices the night at 115 miles per hour. Russian officers in charge of this sector are asleep. They have no idea what is coming. The drone's target is not the train. It is the small concrete signal box that tells the rail network where to send heavy convoys. One clean hit on that box will deaden signals and bring a 2,000-ton train loaded with artillery shells to an immediate stop. A moving problem becomes a stationary one. That moment was the final act of a careful intelligence campaign built on a weakness in Russian defenses. Aish teams, with help from sympathetic insiders, had surveyed every inch of the 12-mile stretch. They knew the timetable for the convoy carrying 2,000 rounds of 155mm shells. Crucially, they had identified a blind spot in the NEBO-M radar. Its 3.6 degrees upward tilt left a narrow corridor near the ground where small drones could fly unseen. Then they played the mines around them. Aish operatives fed selective rumors about an FSB informant inside the Rostov command. Paranoia spread. Commanders began to doubt shadows. Night patrols were cut by half. The risk profile changed. This single rail artery moved nearly 60% of all artillery shells and rockets bound for the Zaporizhia and Kherson fronts. Damaging it would choke the southern logistics chain. On paper, the mission still looked suicidal. Russia had upgraded its Panzer S-1 batteries with 360 degrees radar designed to hunt small UAVs out to 2.5 miles. A Lear 3 electronic warfare suite also saturated the region in a wide GPS jamming field stretching more than 100 miles. The question was not merely whether a drone could get through. The real question was how to cripple a billion-dollar supply network when initiating the strike would alert every defense node for miles. They had a precise, ruthless timetable. At 2:51 a.m., the Russian supply train rolls into the kill zone exactly on schedule. The Aish operator waits, watching through the drone's thermal feed as the glowing outline of the locomotive crosses the white marker line on his display. He doesn't target the engine. That would be reckless. A moving armored train is a nightmare to hit, and a miss would ruin the entire mission. The goal isn't destruction. It's paralysis. The first command is issued. Dozens of miles away, the Switchblade 600 dips its nose and begins its terminal run. The drone's autopilot locks onto the coordinates of a small concrete box, the signal relay center controlling this section of track. Inside that box are copper circuits and relays older than the officers running the station. One hit there, and every train in the sector freezes. The operator watches as the drone's camera shakes from acceleration. The missile's shaped charge, 34 pounds of explosive precision, slams into the signal box. A jet of molten copper slices through the wall like a scalpel. Inside, control panels vaporize. On the engineer's dashboard, indicator lights flash red. The signal ahead dies. Russian rail protocol is unbreakable. Dark signal means full stop. The brakes engage. The steel wheels scream. Sparks shower into the darkness as the 2,000-ton train grinds to a halt. The target is no longer moving. The partisans make their next move. Hours earlier, while Russian patrols were cut back by half thanks to Aish's rumor campaign, operatives had buried M18A1 Claymore mines along the rail's shoulder, tucked beneath gravel, camouflaged with dirt. Now the train sits exactly where they want it. Another radio command. A synchronized flash rips through the night. Dozens of claymores detonate in a perfectly timed chain. 700 steel ball bearings per mine blast sideways at 4,000 feet per second. They don't just sever the track, they annihilate it. The heavy steel rails twist and buckle, torn from their mounts like ribbons. The operator exhales. The path forward is gone. The train, with its payload of 2,000 artillery shells, sits stranded in the dark. But victory never comes quietly. The shockwave radiates for miles. Within seconds, sensors at a NEBO-M radar post 12 miles away light up with thermal anomalies. The radar operator, moments earlier half asleep, now leans forward, eyes wide. Multiple alarms blare. Something just hit their sector. A few clicks of a keyboard send the alert up the chain. At 2:54 a.m., the command reaches a Panzer S-1 battery stationed outside Rostov. Its rotating phased-array radar whirs to life, sweeping the sky in a wide arc. A search pattern begins, precise, mechanical, ruthless. Ukraine's team knew this moment was inevitable. The instant the radar activated, 3 separate contacts lit up on its scope. Bayraktar TB2 drones, launched hours earlier. Their altitude is high, their path deliberate, made to be obvious. They are bait. Russian gunners react instantly. 357 times 10 to the power of 6 missiles leave the rails, streaking upward in bright white arcs. Explosions tear through the night as the decoys vanish. The operators smile. 3 targets detected. 3 kills confirmed. Textbook success. Except the real threat isn't in the air. It's coming from an entirely different vector, hidden by silence. 2 miles west, a 4th drone slips through the radar's blind cone. It isn't a Bayraktar. It's a modified Orlan 10, Russian in origin, Ukrainian in purpose. Engineers stripped its comms link and rewired it for full autonomy. No GPS, no radio. Just preloaded coordinates and inertial guidance. The Lear 3 jammer can't touch it. The Orlan flies blind, but true. Halfway through its flight, the drone activates its payload, a compact emitter tuned to the X-band frequency used by Ukraine's anti-radar missiles. To the Panzer's computer, the Orlan now looks like a priority target, a deadly inbound strike drone. The radar locks on. The operator doesn't hesitate. 657 times 10 to the power of 6 missiles, worth more than $500,000, leap skyward. But they never hit the Orlan. They're chasing a phantom. The false signal points 2 miles away, directly toward a Russian ammunition depot. The result is catastrophic. The first missile pierces a corrugated steel roof. The second detonates milliseconds later. Within seconds, sympathetic explosions ripple through the storage bunkers. 15,000 pounds of artillery shells erupt in a fireball that climbs 300 feet into the sky. The blast shatters windows across Novocherkassk. For a brief moment, the night turns white. Russian radar operators stare in disbelief. Their own missiles just obliterated their ammunition supply. The chaos doesn't stop there. The massive explosion triggers a scramble at a nearby air base. Engines roar. Within minutes, a Mi-28 Havoc gunship lifts off. Its mission is not reconnaissance. It's retribution. The helicopter locks onto the coordinates relayed by the NEBOM radar, the same sector where the explosions began. Its thermal scope sweeps the ground, tracing faint heat signatures. Within seconds, it finds something. 5 human silhouettes lying prone among the brush. The H team. From a standoff distance of 5 miles, the pilot fires a Vickers missile. Mach 1.8. Time to impact, 14 seconds. On the ground, the H leader hears the distant scream. He doesn't run. Instead, he pulls a small box from his pack, a handmade radio jammer cobbled from scavenged parts. It's crude, but powerful. He flips the switch. The device floods the airwaves with chaotic bursts at 5.8 gigahertz. The missile's seeker loses its lock. 9 seconds in, it veers off course and detonates harmlessly. In an empty field, the Havoc pilot curses. He circles back, preparing for another pass. But he's not the only one reacting. A Russian ground installation comes alive, a Peresvet laser defense unit. Its high-energy beam begins sweeping the sky, hunting for Ukrainian drones to blind. The operators know the partisans must have aerialized somewhere. They're right, but too late. From a concealed spot less than a mile away, a second Ukrainian team activates their final weapon. A swarm of 20 FPV drones, each no bigger than a shoebox, rises from the tree. Each carries 2 pounds of C4. Each operator wears a VR headset, controlling their drone through a fiber optic link immune to jamming. No signals to intercept. No frequencies to burn. The swarm surges forward at 60 miles per hour, hugging the treetops. On radar, they look like insects. On the Havoc's display, they appear for half a second. Too many, too close, too fast. Their target, the main logistics bridge spanning the river outside Novocherkassk, the same bridge connecting the Rostov rail network to the southern front. One by one, the FPVs dive. The first wave hits the concrete pillars, peeling off chunks of weathered stone. The second wave aims lower, detonating at the exposed rebar seams. Each explosion adds to the structural pressure. Within seconds, the entire bridge trembles. The Havoc pilot tries to engage, firing the last of his Vickers missiles, but they streak harmlessly into smoke. He's out of options. The bridge groans, its spine cracking. Then, with a deep roar that echoes through the valley, the central span collapses. Steel twists. Concrete shatters. The bridge falls into the river, carrying sections of railway with it. The gunship hovers for a moment, then turns back. Its mission is over. Its target, a supply route worth millions, is gone. As flames consume the depot and the bridge sinks beneath the river's surface, the AISH team begins exfiltration. No running. No panic. Just method. The distraction works perfectly. Russian response units surge toward the inferno, not the shadows. The partisans follow their pre-planned escape route through irrigation canals and wooded ravines. Every move timed, every signal prearranged. Within 40 minutes, they vanish. The last radio ping from their encrypted network reads only one word: done. By 3:20 a.m., the region is chaos. Sirens wail across Novocherkassk. Fire brigades rush toward the burning depot. Armored convoys race to the collapsed bridge. FSB officers bark orders at panicked soldiers. But rescue isn't the priority, containment is. Commanders demand silence. No word leaks out. No images. They fail. At dawn, satellite passes capture everything. 14 high-resolution frames show a 30-foot gap where the bridge once stood and hundreds of feet of rail bent into scrap. The ammo depot is now a smoking crater. The scale of the damage is staggering. 15,000 pounds of artillery shells gone. 500 feet of track destroyed. A $20 million bridge at the bottom of a river. But the real destruction isn't physical. It's systemic. For the next 72 hours, the Zaporizhia and Kherson fronts fall silent. The main artery that fed 60% of their ammunition is gone. Trains stop. Convoys stall. Crews sit idle beside silent artillery guns. The Southern Command loses its rhythm, its confidence, and finally its unity. The paranoia that AISH planted months earlier now flowers into full panic. Accusations of sabotage ripple through Russian command. Officers suspect each other. Briefings devolve into shouting. Orders conflict. Meanwhile, Ukraine advances. In the absence of Russian shelling, their brigades push 3.5 miles forward along the Zaporizhia line. No heavy bombardment meets them. No supply trains arrive to stop them. By the time Moscow issues its official statement, calling the strike a temporary logistical disturbance, the operation's success is already undeniable. The Southern Rail network is crippled. Ammunition stocks are scattered. The bridge is gone. All achieved with a handful of modified drones, homemade jammers, and a team of partisans who refuse to miss their window. The night's message is unmistakable. You don't win modern wars with the biggest guns. You win them with brains, timing, and nerve. Tonight, a billion-dollar Russian supply line lies in ruins. Ukraine proved that in modern warfare the winner is not the side with the most expensive weapons, but the side that uses them with the most terrifying ingenuity. So here's the question for you. If you were the ATSH commander, what would you strike next with your remaining assets? The main fuel depot or the Nebo M radar installation itself?